On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about, and the deep state right now is truly destroying themselves. And one of the favors I have to ask of all you guys during your ripple making and what's likely going to be unfolding over the next number of months, weeks, let's call it. We're going to have a lot of people that are going to be very, very upset with the Democrat Party that are actual Democrats. They may not, most likely don't want to be Republicans, but I think us being as welcoming as possible is going to be hugely helpful. So please keep those things in mind. Again, there's going to be a lot of people that are very unhappy. I mean, we have three faces right here that are causing so much change. Two of them are absolute assholes. One of them is a lovely lady, it seems, and she has got some courage, and good on her, and she's making a huge change. So we're going to talk about all sorts of great stuff today, and again, happy Sunday to all you guys. We have the Freedom 250 Grand Prix that's going on in Washington, D.C. Trump did his run around it in the Beast. It's, I guess, a 1.7-mile circuit. They have to run this thing like 147 times or some crazy amount to finally finish the race. I don't even know how many cars you can get on at one time. But anyways, it could be super cool. Yeah, 147 laps. Not bad. So that should be interesting. It's happening literally right now as I record, so I'm not sure who wins or any of that, and don't know how much I care, frankly. I think it's cool, though. I love open wheel racing, stuff like this. It's so cool. Grand Prix and the, what's the other ones? But still, those cars are just so fast, so crazy fast. Love it. Major fire going on. They're calling this the Hawk Fire, and this is up in the Reno area, outside of Reno. Fast moving. It's over 11,000 acres at this point. And some concerns, obviously, that homes and whatnot might be lost. I'm not sure if there's a data center that needs to be built someplace nearby. I don't actually think that. I kind of say it more jokingly because I know a lot of people in the audience maybe think it. But I do think we've had a lot of fires this winter, or summer, sorry. I'll get my season straight. And it's been interesting. We've been very, very hot, very, very dry. And again, how much of this is being done as warfare right now versus who knows? Because Trump's got an actual financial war going on against the deep state. And so I wouldn't be even remotely surprised if they're using technology, if maybe that's how we've gotten this extraordinarily warm El Nino event that's going to be happening here coming up. And that's just, again, that specific part of the ocean's just really warm, warmer than normal. And again, it's not climate change in my mind. I mean, well, it is kind of. I think it's more related to what's going on with the magnetic field of the planet, frankly, than anything. And it's the thing that nobody wants to talk about generally. So bad stuff is happening, it would seem. Great post by C3. They always put really good stuff out, and very cool. But they said, so Americans in mental institutions. Go back to 1970, there's about 337,000 crazies in institutions. 1980, it was about 132,000. 1990, 91,000. 2000, only 57,000. 2010, 44,000. 2020, 36,000. And then the institutions shut down, and the people that should be in institutions are now on the streets. And they don't really want to put them in jails, so they just put them back out on the street every time they commit crime, over and over and over and over. A lot of the homeless problem is mental illness. A lot of it is drug use. These are two very, very distinctly different problems that have to be handled and looked at very, very differently. And then you've got a chunk of people that are homeless, more just happenstance, and will take any opportunity to not be homeless. 2/3 of them, roughly, though, they're cool being homeless. They don't want it any other way. Kind of a little weird for the way we think about things. What Florida students have been mandated to learn. This is going to freak out the leftists in a lot of ways, and it's awesome that they're teaching it in Florida. And what they're doing is they're teaching the actual body counts of the different communist regimes, like Mao and the Soviet Union and all that, right? Stalin. So they're actually showing how many people died because of communism. Just the communist nations in the process of controlling things, how many people they killed. So again, all these students are taught this wonderful version of communism in school by the communist teachers and the Communist Teachers Union. But yeah, the reality is it's not what they're saying. And they're, oh, we're just socialist. It's the same thing, especially what you guys are talking about. What we got going on in New York is definitely communism when you actually got state-run businesses. Please. Something that's awesome and it's going to be pissing off a lot of people of color. Well, just the ones that are already unhinged. Let's put it that way. The Trump deranged people of color. But this Carmelo Anthony guy, he was denied his new trial. And a whole bunch of information's now come to the surface that originally they were trying to keep quiet. Namely, this dude's been a problem child since he was 6 or 7 years old. He's got a friggin' long list of problems. He had posts talking about shooting up the school. He talked and bragged about violence towards all sorts of people. This dude was a horrible dude. So his chances of getting a retrial are almost nothing now. So I can't wait to see how the Black Lives Matter try to spin this into some sort of thing to go march on. Because this dude's a criminal. He's been a criminal almost his entire life, and he stabbed a dude in the chest. That's pretty premeditated. I don't care what you say. And is it sad that he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail? Yeah. Is it more sad that he killed somebody that they're never going to get to experience their family or have children or any of that stuff? Yeah, that's probably more sad, actually. Yeah, I would say it's more sad. Right? But who am I? Elon Musk, he's spending gobs of money to help the election. I say gobs, I really should be careful. It's small gobs, globulates, maybe. $200+ million he's planning on putting into the elections. He's going to be the new Zuckerberg. I love it. Thank God. It's going to help, too, tremendously. And by the way, you all got to get out and vote. Everybody got to get out and vote. No, Trump's not running. I don't like going to vote. But you have to, please, pretty please. It's the most important thing we do is that we, in our numbers, get out and vote. So Elon Musk putting a bunch of money in. We've also come to find out Trump's got a crap ton of money, too. They're saying $850 million. Let's see if I can actually get this to pull itself up. There we go.
What races are you putting money into, sir?
Well, I've raised a lot, and nobody knows what it is, but I will tell you it's about $850 million. And I'll be spending a lot of that money and my own money, but I'll be spending a lot of that money for candidates that I think are good, Republican candidates that I think are good. So when you add the $850 million to all of the other money that we've raised, we're in very good shape.
And the DNC is broke, right? So this is very, very awesome. Very, very awesome. We are going into this very strong. If you listen to any of the pundits, if you listen to any of the polls, it's going to say the opposite of what's actually going on. So be careful where you get your info. This is also extraordinary. The U.S. Postal Service tightens mail-in voting rules, moves to verify voter eligibility. The U.S. Postal Service is pressing ahead with tougher safeguards for mail-in ballots ahead of November midterms, adopting new eligibility requirements modeled closely on President Donald Trump's election integrity agenda. Under the new policy, states seeking USPS assistance with mail-in and absentee ballots will have to notify the agency at least 60 days before the November elections if they intend to provide lists of eligible voters based on citizenship data. This is to make sure ballots are being mailed to eligible American voters. Postmaster General David Steiner has said the changes will ensure the right ballots are going to the right people. Now, of course, they're going to try to stop this, but I don't think they can. I don't know. I mean, we'll find out. We'll get some weird district judge that'll find a way to do it, but I don't know if they have standing. I mean, I just don't. It's the USPS, Postal Service. It's federal government. It's under Trump. Also interesting, the left right now are starting to talk about the idea that Trump may stop the election. So they're even concerned about this possibly happening. And I will say, after seeing the Postmaster General and some of the stuff that's going on, I think I got a couple more stories here. It actually is starting to get the attention that I was hoping would happen. So again, there might have been a method to my madness, if you will. Again, I'm happy to be wrong when it comes to something like this, and I was just trying to get a little energy in the right places, if you will. So forgive me for the times that I take advantage of the audience, because you guys are powerful. Sometimes you don't realize it. We've got a good one here. Pretend I'm on the ballot. Oh, Trump's talking about, he was at a rally trying to help in South Carolina. I think that's Lindsey Graham's place, right? South Carolina, North Carolina, wherever it is, one of the Carolinas. Please get out there and make sure you vote majorly there. That's a big one. And I mean, Trump's definitely pushing for Graham's sister. So that's kind of who I'm thinking is the right choice. I know there's another individual that they're trying to get in instead of her. So I mean, you guys make your choices there. I don't want to tell you how to vote, but I felt like Trump's been very, very helpful getting us across the finish line, or getting us at least prepared to do the right things. Yeah, this thing, it sometimes does not like to refresh the Telegram stuff. It's interesting. Anyway, check it out.
So just say that I'm on the ballot one more time. You got to say it, and you got to come out and vote. Because if we lose, you're going to lose your border. You're going to lose your tax cuts. You're going to lose everything that we've done. We've gotten the biggest tax cuts in history. Think about no tax on tips. No tax on Social Security for our seniors. No tax on overtime. All of that's going to be gone. Your taxes are going to go up. Your pay is going to go down. Your jobs are going to be lost. They're going to end up closing up. Your businesses are going to flee just like they did years ago. They're going to flee our country. I'm going to be impeached. They're going to impeach me. They have no idea why. I saw today a congressman said on one of the shows, we're going to impeach President Trump. We're going to impeach. Oh, really? Why? The person was asking. A neutral commentator for a change. I like neutral commentators. Oh, I see. You're going to impeach him. Why? Well, I don't know. I don't know. That's all right. That person's going home to mom, going to get scolded because mom is voting for us. You know, mom is voting.
I love when the way the audience handles the hecklers and stuff like that. Like, just Chance USA. Like, we are so cool. We started doing that back when we started attacking Trump to begin with, and here we are. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, here's Darlene Graham. She walked out and gave a little bit of something to talk about on this. Let's see what you guys think.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your endorsement. It has meant the world to me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming to South Carolina. This is MAGA country, right? Yes. Woo! Absolutely. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for that beautiful eulogy you gave at Lindsey's service. That meant the world to me. It was beautiful, y'all, if you didn't hear it. And his friendship with Lindsey meant so much to Lindsey. You were one of his closest friends. I hope you know that. And you will forever be part of the Graham family for that. And I met...
So yeah, that wasn't nearly as good as I was hoping, but yeah, I mean, obviously Lindsey Graham and Trump liked him. I was not a big fan. He was too much of a war hawk, but I'm sure there's all sorts of wonderful things about Lindsey that I'm not giving credit for. So I'm happy to admit that. Canada-U.S. trade war erupts. This was not supposed to happen. They were in negotiations. They broke down last minute. So now, in effect, 50% tariff on a number of goods. I think almost all, but they're also going to retaliate with tariffs, which is interesting. So I don't know what Canadian shit you typically buy, but that's going to get more expensive probably. Nah, I don't know. There's anything Canadian I would have bought, I could buy not Canadian and still, save myself money. That's cool. It's not going to be good for Canada. And I know all my Canadian people out there, honk, honk, I love you guys. You guys know that. This is all about taking down the deep state. And your guys' dude is a hardcore Chinese and the king. I mean, this dude's tied into all the wrong stuff. He was even with, by the way, the Bank of England and the Bank of somewhere else, but he's been in charge of these facilities. So this dude is not a good guy. He's definitely not a good guy, and he's definitely demonstrating still to this day with his actions that he's not a good guy. In fact, one could arguably say he's a pile of trash. Anywho. Donald Trump truthed out. Canada wants the benefits of being a state without being one. They have also charged our great farmers for many years massive amounts of tariffs. No more. President Donald J. Trump. So that's done. We'll see what happens with Canada. Fiber maxing is something that everybody's talking about doing right now. Certainly any of you guys are on GLP-1 type products. You're probably very aware of this, but it's where you tend to eat a higher protein, higher fibrous diet. And what that does, the fiber tends to make you feel full longer. It's a big part of it. Helps clean your system out, too. Protein is also requires more calories to burn protein than carbs. Carbs store very easily. Protein does not. And so you're either going to poop it out or digest it. And so it's a good way to diet. And it's also a way a lot of people are certainly when they're working out and stuff, they are enhancing the protein levels. Obviously, you can only go so far and do so much. Your body can only process so much. But anywho, this fiber maxing concept is a big craze right now. And what's funny is that's a big part of the feel great thing. We've talked about this. So any of us, I weighed myself this morning. I'm at 167. I was like, holy crap. I'm almost a little low. I got to try to eat a little more. It's an amazing product. And again, it helps with the cravings for me. That's what I love the most about it, is the energy, the cravings. I don't like to eat right in the morning. It's just I don't know, I get heartburn. I might be a little hungry sometimes, but if I eat, I'll get heartburn. It's just weird. It's like if I wait until 9 or 10 in the morning, I can usually eat something, and my body's like cool with it, right? So it helps me prolong that. There's other people that are having issues trying to stay in ketosis. Now, ketosis is when you don't eat for a long enough period, when you fast, or they call it intermittent fasting, but really it's long-term fasting. But when you fast for a period of time, your body at some point, and it differs a little bit for all of us, but I want to say it's around 12 hours, it switches into ketosis. And you begin to actually burn fat instead of your stored energy. And that's really what you want to do when you're trying to lose weight. It's the fat cells, and again, fat's like per little gram inside your body, it's 9 calories. It's a lot of energy. It sucks. So burning that is a huge help when it comes to the real weight loss. A lot of times you might get like water loss right up front, but that's not really weight loss. That's just liquid gain, right? Liquid gain, liquid loss. Like for me, if I drink a bunch of beer and then weigh myself the next morning, like, oh shit, man, I'll be 3-4 pounds heavy. And it's just liquid. It's just a bunch of liquid in my body. OTF specials changing people's lives. There's people that actually are pre-diabetic, post-diabetic, diabetic. There's people that are having problems with snacking, craving, having problems trying to get that last 30 pounds off. They haven't been able to. Been constantly putting on weight and just have excuses for why you can't lose it anymore. I'm just getting older. You don't have to have any of that stuff going on. There is some problems with the foods we eat for the most part. This right here is helping people go a little bit longer on the craving so you can actually stay in ketosis longer, or at least use this during the harder parts of the day where you probably shouldn't be snacking, right? You can use it however you want. But then the fibrous mixture, the balance that you eat before your largest meal, it actually is some science that helps your body deal with the carbs that you're likely about putting in your body. And so this stuff goes into your food, or it goes into your stomach before you eat. It's a fibrous mixture, kind of starts to expand. So again, you're getting that fiber, and you're also giving the science. And when the food falls in there, your body processes some of it a little differently. And it's amazing what it's doing. People are seeing their numbers. They're getting off of statins. All sorts of things are happening naturally. Don't do anything crazy. Talk to your doctors after you start seeing better numbers. But you'll be amazed. OTFspecial.com is like a step towards healthy living. It's a step towards losing that weight that you didn't think you could. I'm down, again, I didn't fluctuate that much, so I'm not like the best example, but I'm down like 7 pounds from where I kind of just figured I was. For me, that's awesome. I look really good. I can actually see my my abs. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm telling you guys, this is all of us can experience this. OTFspecial.com, OTFspecial.com. You got a 90-day money-back guarantee. Money-back guarantee. If you don't think it's helping you at all, get your money back. OTFspecial.com. Start changing your life. You're going to be amazed what happens when you do. It's such good stuff. I love it. This is one of my favorite things. The Healthy Home, that's another one. Of course, I got to get more Parasite Cleanse. Like, I actually use the crap I talk about, guys. I love this stuff. All right, Deep State failing. Got some stuff here. Maoist faction of the DSA has rejected AOC as a potential candidate because she lacks Palestine solidarity. Because she realizes there's a whole lot of Jews in New York, and there's no way she's ever going to win anything major in New York. She's probably got Senate hopes. Oh, I know she was thinking of running for president, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with her. It's going to be interesting. Donald Trump went off on some people I love when he goes off on, and so we're going to talk about it. I said Tucker Carlson just met with lightweight former congressman, Thomas Massie, and Marjorie Trader Greene, loser all. Tucker's views have fallen through the floor and will only get worse. Nobody cares about him any longer, in that he has become totally irrelevant and happens to be, surprisingly, a very low IQ individual. He could barely get out of college, and maybe he didn't. But only really dumb people can't make it through that wonderful 4-year time in life. Tucker wants to run for political office, but he should be required to take a cognitive test. He's got no chance, but could probably take a couple of points away from whatever the Republican ticket happens to be. Tucker is a loser and always has been. Marjorie Taylor Brown, Greene turns to Brown under stress, a highly neurotic young woman, went from ultra-conservative to a liberal fool, all in a matter of weeks, because I refused to return her phone calls, not because I didn't like her, but because I had no time. She was way down in the polls in Georgia because I took away my endorsement and would have had no chance at winning, so she, just like everyone else, quit. Thomas Massie has turned out to be a failed politician and a real jerk. He thought it was really wonderful to vote no on everything, no matter how good, strong, or proper the legislation would be. What a team this would be. 3 losers and a pocket full of change. The only chance they have to join the radical left Democrats and try breaking into the primary system. To all of them, I say, praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. I love when he says that because I think it pisses people off I think it pisses some Christian people off. I think they just dislike that. And Allah is just another language's word for God. Same thing as Dios or Dio or whatever, Deo. It's the same thing. They don't say God. They have a different word for it. Allah is God. So hopefully that doesn't piss people off, because I think everybody associates it to Arabic stuff or the Muslim. Here is a really pretty good little bit of Bill Maher. Bill Maher, I think, made it in twice today, and deservedly so. This is Dana Bash, who I normally cannot stand, but for some reason she seems to make a little bit of sense, at least in the couple snippets I saw. I did not watch the whole episode. I would not waste my level of life on that, but this is a pretty good part. Check it out.
What do you think of this new star, John Ossoff, I mentioned in the monologue? I mean, we've mentioned him before. He's been there for a couple of years in Georgia. Mm-hmm. He's kind of Obama-esque when he speaks, and he really lit into Trump in a way that people seem to be, certainly on the left, thirsting for. The problem is he's Jewish. Mm-hmm. I know we don't want to talk about that, but we need to talk about that, because that is the situation in the Democratic Party. They think Gaza is a genocide. It is not. There's an actual meaning into the word genocide. It doesn't come close. But as long as you tag that name, genocide, of course, what kind of normal person would not hate someone who's responsible for a genocide? And they've all just signed on to this because they're just big on buzzwords and lawn signs and bumper stickers. That's as deep as they go.
And likes on their social media.
And likes. So you have to say it. There was a Congressman Scott Wiener. He's, I think, going to take Nancy Pelosi's seat in San Francisco. And he wasn't saying genocide. And they surrounded him, a mob, and yelled at him and said, "You're not gay." He's gay. They're not really gay unless you... What the fuck does that have to do with genocide? Right. Say it. And he did. Because the Democrats are cowards.
You know,
What a coward.
This is factual. Do you know the only country in the Middle East that has gay rights?
Of course.
Israel. Yeah.
Yes, that's why the people with the Queers for Palestine T-shirts are so out of their mind.
Can I say one thing about the Jew? Because I actually, earlier this summer, I interviewed Josh Shapiro, governor of
Another Jewish politician.
of Pennsylvania, running for re-election, but also very much in the conversation about 2028. And I asked him this question point blank: do you really think that a Jewish politician can win a Democratic primary for president in this environment for Jews? And he gave an answer about how he's been talking about his faith a lot. He doesn't hide from it. Pennsylvania is a purple state. He's very popular in Pennsylvania. And, you know, I thought a lot about it. We'll see. But the other thing that I thought about, Bill, is that even, or maybe despite this climate, you have Josh Shapiro, John Ossoff, J.B. Pritzker, Rahm Emanuel. I don't remember a time where there were more Jews who were even thinking openly about running for president in the Democratic primary.
Well, we'll see what happens when they get asked about Israel. I think Bill has a good point, is that they twist themselves into knots over it because the activist left has done such a good job of making this a third rail. Like, you know, you have to buy into the rhetoric, just like you used to have to say, I want to defund the police, or I want, you know, there to be...
It's a litmus test.
Yes, exactly. And as often the case, and this is something I think Democratic strategists worry about privately, is the absolutist nature of some of the activism rhetoric on the left is a real problem, because they're always trying to explain it away, right? Well, we don't really mean defund the police. Well, we don't really mean that Donald Trump is a king, or they're using kind of jargony language like, let's, you know, stop the oligarchy, or you know, whatever that term is. And ordinary people don't know what that means. They don't, it just, it doesn't resonate with them. Or care, yeah. Right? And this, unless Democrats learn how to talk to voters in a way that is more to their hearts rather than to their heads, and, you know, to a political dictionary that you need to translate what they're saying, this will be a difficult year.
But I think back to what...
100%. 100%. And as we progress through this, it's not going to go well for these guys. So again, here's one other little snippet here. This is only about less than a minute. Check it out.
Because they weren't in tune with what their voters really cared about. Guess what? They don't care about corporate tax rates.
And the Democrats made it a lot easier for them by harping on cultural issues where the country thought they had lost their minds.
That's right.
I feel like the elections we're having these days are still that. It's like a couple that's having an argument, and they're not having the same argument. The Democrats are arguing economic issues, and the Republicans are arguing cultural issues. The Democrats are saying these guys are crooks, and inflation is still high, we can do better, and we can give you health care. And the other people are saying, yeah, but they want to get rid of Thanksgiving. We like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And they can't define a woman, you know, and they think, you know, the WNBA should be full of men. And, you know, they just crazy stuff. And so they kind of opened the door for that.
Yeah, kind of, you think? So again, the Dems are having a huge problem right now. There is all of this stuff being presented to them that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's not what they've signed up for. It's not what they've believed in for their whole life. They finally are starting to realize that their party has been hijacked, much like our country, but that's a number of steps away from where they currently are. They're going to need your guys' help. And a lot of people are going to come to you or me because we're the ones that have been saying this stuff all along. Hopefully not too crazy. Hopefully not constantly dropping, hey, Chrome, and they're doing this, and they're eating each other. And you know, like if you're always doing the crazy shit, like, yeah, you have zero credibility with anybody, by the way. Just saying. You might believe it, and I read, check out some of that stuff and like it too. Like it. Don't know if I believe all of it, but certainly a bunch of it I do. But I don't ever really go into that discussion with people unless they seem interested in it. Otherwise, you lose your audience. This is one thing I've seen many, many, many people on our side of the fence do, and they do it poorly, very poorly, and they literally just constantly run people off, and it's just like, why? Like a good friend of mine, an older guy, retired. He just, all the time, he goes straight into the crazy shit. Like, we got my accountant hangs out, the three of us, like, we'll have coffee together. And my accountant's just totally oblivious to all this shit. He has no idea what the hell's going on. It's crazy. Anyway, yeah, he's always just like, yeah, and then they eat the kids. And I was like, fuck, John, really, man? Like, God, we could come at this a little differently. Just saying. The Knicks owner who once supported Democrat Governor Hochul no longer does. He's now the biggest GOP donor in New York. You see, things are definitely changing. Shocking number of Democrats in Seattle now want failed socialist mayor Katie Wilson to resign. God, she's such an ugly, well, I don't know. It's so hard to call her a she. I get when she's got her hair down like that, it looks like a boy. When she's got her hair pulled back, it looks, all right, still looks like a boy, but sort of more feminine-esque. Anywho, her polls are sucking balls. She's 6 months into the job already. Mom Donnie's going to be there soon. It's amazing how quickly they're able to ruin their reputations. It's fantastic. Outrage erupting nationwide after New Jersey Governor Mickey Sherrill. She signed a law that would imprison Christians that pray outside of abortion facilities. It's not legal. Don't worry. Someone's going to do a lawsuit on this. We'll just go ahead and play this. Let's see if it'll load up for me. Hey, nice.
Gender-affirming care, reproductive health care. But here's where this all gets even more concerning to pro-life advocates. The new law makes it a crime to physically block access to facilities like abortion clinics, and the penalties are harsh. For example, some people could face 18 months in prison for simply praying outside a facility. And if the state upgrades the charge, pro-life advocates could face up to 10 years in prison plus a fine of up to $150,000. Now, my next guest.
Now, I do find it interesting that it sounds like you can't block them is what the law states, but to say just praying outside, I mean, unless you're creating a pray line and you're not letting people through, in which case that's not legal. I actually don't think you should do that. I get you're anti-abortion, but if somebody wants to go do something that currently is legal, I don't feel like you should. I know there's people that feel like you should be able to kill somebody to stop them from harming others before they ever harm others. It's just, it kind of doesn't work well that way, unfortunately. I don't like this new ad stuff on Telegram. That's not cool. Good for them, though. Donald Trump is doing some all over the place stuff, but this was a Benny guy. I feel like it tripped me out to see him on Fox, which I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I have issues. Anyways, they were talking about some of the problems that really have been created with the military power and trying to move through all this stuff. I don't know. He had some good points. I don't remember exactly what they are. Hang on.
It's really too bad, Kellyanne, that the Ayatollah was killed in the initial bombing attack, because the Democrats would probably be running him in 2028 for president. The Democrats would probably be electing him for Senate. In Michigan, they'd be putting him in charge of New York. They'd be having him run for Congress. He'd be in charge of the DNC right now. It really is too bad for them to say that they're upset about Iran and they're upset about radical Islamic jihad. Have a look at your own party. I think what they're upset about is that Donald Trump's actually doing pretty damn well in this war right now. Donald Trump is looking right now at Iran and saying, Hormuz, your daddy. Who's your daddy? Whoever controls the Strait of Hormuz is the person who's in charge. Donald Trump, as of today, has been able to get 700 million barrels of oil out of a closed Hormuz Strait. That is in spite of Iran saying that the strait is mined and closed and we control it. And now the president of Iran is saying we surrender effectively. We need to end this war. There are going to be such crippling results. Iran doesn't have enough oil to provide for just their own country alone. And their procurer of oil, their single buyer of their sanctioned oil, China, can't get any more of the oil. Their tankers are rusting in the Persian Gulf. They can't even fill up at Karg Island. So Donald Trump has actually pulled a masterstroke off here by also realigning the oil markets. 50% of Venezuela's oil now gets sold to America. The Keystone XL pipeline locked in. Trump is actually getting the most incredible trump card, which is the control of the global energy market. And that is true power. And Democrats cannot stand it because it means that it's going to be another massive win for Trump. I will say one final thing. I would encourage the administration, as I always do, what wins elections are the price at the pump, the price of groceries, and the price of housing for young people. So get locked back in on the domestic value here. That's real America first. and that's how we really win.
I kind of wonder how much of it's actually the third one being housing. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I think it depends. I think that's where you really probably have the largest fracture, but I think the first two, 100%. All right? Trump tells his supporters to pretend he's on the ballot. We played that part already, so we don't need to do that. Rogan slams AOC and Dems for suddenly trying to distance themselves from the woke 1.0. I'm glad I did put this in here because the reminder of it was over here. I think Bill Maher talking about it and how they create all these scenarios and they're pushing them and supporting them. And kind of the point they make in this is that we were more of a captive audience back in like 2021 when we were stuck in our houses, right? When they're forcing vaccines on us. And this is when they really started to try to push this ideology because they figured we would be worn down and they would be able to continue it on long enough that we would allow them to do this. Now, many have. Many have had multiple boosters. Many have done a lot of things they shouldn't. Many are going out, and there's a new mRNA shot we're going to talk about. Flu shot, mRNA flu shot. Oh, this is going to be an awesome flu season, guys. Trust me, we're so heavily in war, guys. Be mindful. Have your viral protections at home. Like, again, don't take any of this, like, just because nothing's happened yet. Anywho, they talk a lot about it. I think it was brilliant. It's a little long, but I think it's pretty good stuff. I'm going to play it. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Have you been tracking AOC's pivot recently?
What she's froze her eggs. I know about that.
I think
she got rid of the man.
Called off the engagement, froze her eggs, has started posting, I'm on my way to do yoga. Like,
good for her.
Videos walking down the street.
Looking hot.
Let's
go. Maybe she'll be nicer that way.
Well, she also said woke one was crazy. Do you track this thing?
I did. Yeah. Which makes me think that you're willing to change your opinions based on public reaction. I don't like that. Because if you really thought defund the police and then you just ascribed it to woke one was crazy, well, how did it get you? Because it didn't get me. How did it get you? How did defund the police get you? Give me your thoughts. How far out did you track the consequences of defunding the police? Because I immediately went to, you're going to have more crime because no one's going to be able to stop the crime. We're going to be fucked. It's going to get scary, and then you're going to want more police, and saying defund the police is just going to make more police and more control and more totalitarian government. Like, what did you think defund the police meant? Everyone's going to, like, eat mushrooms and we're all going to, like, be flower children? What did you think? Because there's no police around, no one's going to do crimes, everyone's going to be great? Like, what was the thought process? Because if you're just saying that because everybody's like, that's fucking crazy, and enough people say that's crazy, you're like, I think they think it's crazy.
The wind's blowing in a different direction, time for me to move.
Have you changed your opinion? And if you did change your opinion, what were you thinking back then?
Yeah, I mean, these are the questions I think that we always want to ask.
Yeah.
You always want to ask that. That being said, to steelman what she was saying, or to try and put it in the best light, what she was saying, I think, the rhetoric got, what did she say? The rhetoric got like out of hand or something. Woke one was crazy. And she said that there was basically an opportunity to expand the Overton window, talking about a time where people were, to be honest, it sounds like a bit more pliable.
Yeah.
Like, because people are at home, people seem a little bit more, like, you know that line, never let a good crisis go to waste?
Yeah, sure.
It feels a little bit like that, maybe opportunistic, we can expand the Overton window. And then we realized, like we overshot on here a little bit, that was a little bit crazy, but there are conversations being had now that wouldn't have been able to be had we have not expanded it during that time. And I go, the ends justifying the means with stuff like that doesn't wash for me. And then reversing your position or changing your position or sanitizing it, which is probably closer, right? We said that thing, but we didn't really mean that. You know, we just got a little...
There's a way out of it for them, but they have to be honest. If you want us to take you seriously, you have to say how you fucked up.
I thought you meant more thirst traps. But.
No, you have to say how you fucked up, and you have to say what you really think about how you fucked up. You have to be honest, and you have to be authentic. We have to know that you are embarrassed by your choices and that you kind of went with the hive, admittedly. You have to say that. If you don't say that, then you're full of shit. And if you're full of shit now, you're going to get more and more full of shit over time. And that's how politicians get soured. That's how they get compromised. A lot of them come into office. A lot of them come into office very opportunistic, or very idealistic rather. They have these wonderful ideas about like this is the great experiment in self-government and I'm a part of it now and I'm really going to help my constituents and I'm going to do great and they're going to love me because I'm going to really make their lives better. And then once you get in there and you realize how dirty this all is, you realize, you see Nancy Pelosi's worth $400 million. You're like, what? And then they tell you how to vote. And if you don't vote that way, they fucking ostracize you, but you want to keep your career. So you start making little compromises here and little compromises there. And you start bullshitting and you start lying. And once you start lying, you can't see the truth anymore. As soon as you start lying, you don't see the truth. It's not in front of you anymore because you're concerned about that lie. So those lies are in your head and who you're trying to project yourself as, that's what's in your head. And you don't get to see, why is this system so fucked? What can we do to unweave it while we still allow corporations to profit? How can we put a cap on that to make sure that they don't get incentivized to break the law in order to supply more capital to their shareholders? What can we do to balance this out in an even way? That's what we should all be thinking, not how can I make the most fucking money while I'm in Congress. And that's what a lot of them are thinking because everybody else is thinking that. And you look at the fucking thing and it's red, blue, red, blue. They're all insider trading and they're all rich as shit and they all make $170,000 a year. Ilhan Omar, was she she was estimated to be, her accountant said she was worth $30 million, and then be like, what? How the fuck are you worth $30 million? They're like, oh, it was a mistake. I'm actually, I'm not even worth $100,000. Literally, it went from one to the other, and she attributed to an accounting error.
That's a big accounting error.
How
Fire
mad would you be at your accountant if he told you, bro, you're killing it right now, Chris?
$30 million.
You're worth about $30 million. It's just
sorry, 100,000.
They're all dirt. Her and her husband had a winery, and it immediately got shut down. It wasn't making any money. There's a lot of these like fugazi companies that these people get involved with, and they start making money. Joe DeRosa, the comic. Joe DeRosa used to work for the Senate in Texas.
Do what?
He's a media guy.
Okay.
And he was like, you realize when you're around these people what's actually happening. And he's like, they're all getting donations from this and donations from that and gifts from that. And it's always managing these relationships with all these money people. And that's what's going on with all these fuckers. They're not in there trying to make sure that their county's doing great and have access to clean water and fucking good schools. No! They're all just pretending that they're doing that. And what they're doing is they're making money. And maybe they're kind of sort of servicing the community a little bit. But the real thing, if you want to be a fucking top flight congressperson, you got to make some money, dog.
Well, think about what would have happened if Kamala had won. Would AOC have been talking about woke 1.0 was crazy? Or would that have been a continuation of, well, look, we put the policies out, people like the policies. How much of this is a reversal of the position because it wasn't effective?
Yeah, exactly. How much of it? And again, the point that they were, pushing us down, the fact they didn't change the direction they were going. Joe was saying some good stuff. And making the money. These guys have been milking the system. They don't represent us. That's where it's important to remember the story where Trump's got $850 million that he's going to be putting towards races, plus the Republican National, whatever, RNC, right? Plus their money, plus some of the other cool stuff money. Huge amounts of money. And then Musk's $200 million. Think about how much money we're coming into it. And right now the Democratic National Convention or Committee is broke. We're damaging them badly. But at the same time, this is the deep state. This is just the public apparatus is being shattered right now. The deep state's trying to figure out how do we do this? And they've probably got some other things up their sleeves. We did finally get the Supreme Court ruling, thank goodness, and we'll get to that in a second. There's actually some good stuff with what's his name? Blanche. I'm thinking Polte for some reason, stuck in my head. Tremendous work has been done in the magnificent ballroom military complex being built on the grounds of the White House. Presidents have wanted this for 150 years, yada, yada, yada. So it's on budgets. It wasn't paid for by taxpayer money. Nobody can get mad about that. Here's A.G. Blanche. He was on Fox News talking to whoever the hell he was talking to. And it's pretty good. I think it was Kayleigh McEnany, maybe. But good stuff. And he kind of covers a bunch of things. So prepare to hear some cool stuff.
Attorney General Blanche, this was an eye-opener this week. 35-year-old Jessica Bowie, a little girl waving a flag to a potential terrorist. What can you tell us that we don't know?
Well, what I think is important is this is a good reminder to Americans how we have to remain vigilant. The Department of Justice, federal law enforcement did a fantastic job disrupting what could have been a horrible tragedy and another act of terrorism on American soil. But at the end of the day, it's again a stark reminder that after all these years, there are still many out there and some in this country that seek to destroy it and destroy who we are. And so I'm proud of federal law enforcement, the Department of Justice for disrupting this plot, but it was good work, and we're going to keep on going at it.
And FBI Director Kash Patel says last year alone there were 640 planned terror attacks that were averted thanks to the FBI and the DOJ. Is this kind of radicalization common in those attacks?
Well, it is. I mean, I wouldn't say it's common. That's not. This is still a situation where, since 9/11 and even before, the FBI, the Department of Justice, is completely focused on keeping the homeland safe. And so, what we're doing every single day to disrupt some you hear about, some you don't, but to disrupt any terrorist attack on U.S. soil or on our troops overseas is one of our most important, if not the most important mission at the Department of Justice.
Attorney General Blanche, you had a big win yesterday on the ballroom. Chief Justice John Roberts issued a temporary stay to allow this work to proceed. Your thoughts?
We are extraordinarily appreciative of the Chief Justice, and we have been saying all along, since day one, that this is something the President has complete authority to do as the Commander-in-Chief and the Chief Executive of this country. There has been a need for a ballroom and a safe space and a military installation for decades on the White House grounds, and President Trump has delivered on that. And so we're gonna continue to let the process move forward through the courts, but we're appreciative that we got the stay yesterday, and we're going to keep on building. And as President Trump says repeatedly, we are under budget and ahead of schedule. And I was out there last week with President Trump, and it's a beautiful piece of construction that's going to be great for generations and presidents to come.
You also reached a settlement with TikTok. There was a complaint filed in 2024, and you're convinced that this settlement will now protect children on that platform. What has TikTok agreed to do?
Well, since that lawsuit was filed, as folks know, TikTok has undergone a meaningful change in ownership, leadership, management, and their practices. And so this lawsuit and the settlement of it takes into account the changes the company has made since the lawsuit was filed, which is exactly what we should be doing, and also make sure that it's a stark reminder and a real important note to anybody out there that we are going to protect children, and the internet is got to be a safe place for children. And if companies and entities are not doing what they're supposed to do to make sure that happens, we're going to come after them. So I'm happy about the settlement. I think it was the fair, just, and right result for everybody involved. But remember, TikTok today is not the TikTok that existed several years ago. It's a much different company, and President Trump has talked about that. The Department of Justice recognizes that, and that's why we agreed to reach a fair settlement. But it's a big number. It's a lot of money that they agreed to pay to kind of address what happened in the past and make sure it doesn't happen in the future.
You also were in Iowa this week. What was your message in Iowa? I know you addressed voter rolls and also cost of living.
That's exactly what it was. And look, the leadership in Iowa is phenomenal. Chairman Grassley has done a great job in the Senate. Senator Ernst done a great job in the Senate. And then you have great leadership. I spent the day with the Attorney General, and Attorney General Byrd every day is fighting for Iowans. And so I went out there to just address and see firsthand what Iowans are facing when it comes to the challenges with anti-competition in the beef industry, in the fertilizer industry, and to let them know that we're going to keep on fighting for them. I saw the U.S. Attorney. I met with the federal law enforcement, and there's a lot of great things happening in that great state, and we want to make sure that the ranchers and the farmers and the Iowan citizens know that we're going to keep on fighting for them.
Final question, and I just have a few moments here, but there was an illegal immigrant who murdered a woman in Great Falls. This individual entered during the Biden administration, and there are fears that the sanctuary laws could protect him in that state. What are you doing to stop that?
Well, we're fighting every day, and that's exactly right. There was an illegal immigrant who killed somebody, let in, let out during the Biden administration, and Democrats stand up and say that tough luck, that's what we're supposed to be, that's just like the cost of doing business. It is not. And so the Department of Justice, President Trump, DHS, we're fighting every single day to push back on sanctuary cities. And this is why. This is why. Because individuals like him should not have ever been in this country, much less been out walking the streets and allegedly, as been charged, committing a murder. So we'll keep on fighting.
Attorney General Todd Blanche.
Yeah, I mean, again, so incredible stuff going on, and this idea that we're supposed to just suck it up and accept these criminals doing crime inside our country is like, no, that's not okay. And then you can't have cities protecting them. That should theoretically be illegal. Isn't that harboring a criminal? Right? So whoever makes that decision and signs off on it to the highest level is committing crime, unquestionably. So a lot of things are going to happen. They're going to build up. Yeah, it's just going to be curious to see how this plays out. I mean, again, I think if they build this properly, which they seem to be trying to do, it's like you're stacking stools and stuff on top of each other. You're like trying to get up to the thing. If you do it right, you shouldn't fall. But yeah, we're gonna have a fun fight. So yeah, TikTok agreed to pay $400 million settlement. So that's big stuff. Court slashes excessive judgment against Alex Jones. There was a $50 million judgment against InfoWars. They switched it to $1.5 million. In Texas, you're not allowed to get more than $750,000 per plaintiff, which is an interesting cap. Someone that lives in California, it's like, what? That's not even, you can't even pay your lawyers with that. So yeah, that's pretty funny. Anyway, yeah. That's way better, right? Not having to pay $50 million and only having to pay $1.5 million. So that's pretty sweet. One thing I wanted to bring this up because this is something that a lot of people are talking about, how China's winning the war on AI and data and all this stuff. And it's like, one, they don't have chips, so no. Two, they are building power, and everyone says power is key, and it's very key. Power is very, very important. And they just don't have the computers. Now, for us, just because we're not building giant nuclear reactors, and this is what a lot of people are kind of judging it on, we're not creating these huge power facilities. But instead, and for any of us that have ever been following any of this, maybe Tesla technology and stuff like that, you've got to wonder how much of this modular power that we're producing now, because we're doing this, no one else is doing this. Like, here's an example. This is only a 1 megawatt. This is tiny, but I'm sure they can get these into slightly larger megawatt or wattage, I guess, or power. Let's put it that way. That's better. But this still 1 megawatt. It's actually got a nuclear fuel that's safe. It's 5 years. You put this thing in a location, and for 5 years it will produce power with little risk at all. This is what we're doing as a country. Rather than trying to create these large structures that require power wires to go out for miles and miles, extraordinarily expensive infrastructure, when instead you can actually pop a few of these little happy boxes, which maybe aren't even the numbers they're talking. I mean, again, this is what they're publicly stating, but who knows? I'm just going to take them at their word for now. Let's not assume anything more. But you're able to pop these things in different places where you can maybe strengthen the existing grid already, where you've got an appropriate transformer station that exists or whatever. I don't know what you need. But this is a very easy way to create additional power in other places. And there is a lot of talk about how we're doing this in a number of different ways. There's multiple companies that are creating their own designs. We're coming a long ways with the idea of doing fusion energy instead of fission, which is powerful. So again, we are actually doing far better than the media would have you believe. New York Times ordered to pay $9.25 million in a defamation lawsuit against an Alabama basketball player. If you've been following along at home, Kai Spears was kind of besmirched. They said he was in a vehicle and during a crime, and it wasn't true. Anywho. History in the making. No more income tax, apparently, in Oklahoma. Mississippi. Mississippi. M-I-S-S-I-S-I-P-P-I. The governor there is apparently no more state taxes. going to make it an interesting choice for a lot of businesses maybe to come out that way. So good job, Mississippi. Gavin Newsom breaks ranks to say that this thing that Trump's doing, these savings accounts, we like those. You should definitely invest in it, which I don't know. It's kind of weird. I mean, they're an excellent idea, but you've got to figure Gavin Newsom's trying to figure out how he can tax them, is my guess. Or it will depend on where you live for a majority of your life, and then California will try to get its piece of the pie. Trust me, California's brutal when it comes to their taxing. They will get their money. They spend a lot of money to make sure you get effed good. Another green energy project has been canceled. It was a big hydrogen facility they were trying to build. This, I will say, is a small bummer in that, I don't know, I kind of liked the idea of hydrogen-powered cars and stuff. I thought that'd be kind of cool, way smarter than batteries, but I mean, it's kind of stupid too. I mean, I'll be honest, but I don't know, hydrogen was kind of a cool idea. But anyway, this company's not doing it. There's no way they're going to make any money on it. They're like, yeah, we're bugging out. SNAP enrollment has declined dramatically amid fraud crackdown. Isn't that interesting? Apparently it's down, what did they say? It was a decent percentage. Under new federal rules, blah, 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 specifically new. Yeah, so Arizona experienced the largest drop in SNAP, plummeting 55%. Wow. Well, that is fantastic, right? So, yeah, we're actually getting rid of a lot of this fraud. This fraud was going to fund all sorts of horrible things too, guys. So that's the other thing you got to understand. You got to understand, where'd that money go? It wasn't just necessarily always going to a family that didn't deserve it, but in large cases to criminal enterprise or even politicians, believe it or not, because they can sell that stuff and make deals. Gavin Newsom signs the Stop Nick Shirley Act into law. I don't know if this is legal. This definitely seems to go against the First Amendment of being able to report on stuff. And if it's public space and public area, so I don't know. There's going to be a lawsuit at some point. I'll be very curious to see if this holds up. I can't imagine it will, but the Stop Nick Shirley Act is stupid. Keeps you from being able to record people breaking the law, essentially, which is kind of fucked up. Alex Trebek's ginormous California ranch that sold for a huge discount. This is in California. 724-acre mega ranch, and he sold it for way less. It was $33 million is what he was asking, and he got $16.9 million. Again, I've told you guys, the exodus is happening. They're getting the hell out of Dodge for a lot of reasons, but mainly because California is such a shitty place for a tax base. They just are absolutely horrible, and we'll see what happens. The cost of America's 25-year war on terror, well, they're saying it's close to $10 trillion. This story, and it bums me a little bit, but it's the story is really meant to, I think, get people kind of pissed off about the fact that we're at the level of debt we are, and then Trump's trying to spend money the way he is. This is generally how people tend to spin this information. But the reality is, this goes back to like 2020. This goes back to forever ago. This goes back to, George Bush. This goes back to Clinton. Clinton was before. It goes back to Obama. It goes back to all these deep state bastards. These guys have been spending money like it was going out of style, and they were at a war on terror that never ended. Trump's ending the wars. So I don't know if this article does a fair job getting to that point. I doubt it, but yeah. Tim Walz supposedly is, there's this mining ban, and he's saying it's empowering empowering China, and it's killing union jobs. They're just pissed off at him. I mean, it's copper mine, and I don't know why we're closing down a copper mine. I understand they're probably a little dirty, but not that bad. I'm sure not dumping stuff into the regular rivers and whatnot. So Tim Walz is definitely controlled by the Communist Party, and, well, is likely a communist himself. The movie Idiocracy, I swear to God, this is where we are today. It bothers me so much that this movie is like, this is supposed to be 500 years in the future, but it's like now, pretty much. I mean, people are basically this stupid. If you haven't seen the movie Idiocracy, I just wanted to say it should be your homework assignment. Hopefully you can find it on one of the platforms. Look for it. It's worth watching. It's entertaining, and it's certainly frightening how accurate it is to what is going on today. And this isn't like 1984 where the deep state's trying to tell you what they're going to do. No, this is like just pointing out what's been done to us and how stupid we've become. God, AI is going to make it even worse. But, oh well. Detroit public schools are now offering students cash prizes just for showing up. How can that not spin into a bad direction? Literally, you got to bribe children to show up to school. Oh, we are just heading down fast, guys. We are sliding fast. This is a huge woohoo! San Antonio airport fuel workers, they ousted the union. Good job, guys. Good job, San Antonio specifically. Well, they were trying to make them like Austin, but it didn't happen. Well, it's happening. This is a big move, though. Good job for kicking out the union. I like that very much. I need to get into the extras. My Pillow, guys, we still got a great coupon code that's happening, even though Mike Lindell is no longer the CEO. But get your entire order free shipping. I think at least over $100, but everything free shipping, which means you could take advantage of it, like the topper, $99.99 or $98, whatever. Right? Get that. You got the best pillows ever. You got the box edge. You got the knife's edge. Best pillows ever. They're incredible pillows. This is why I fell in love with the company. $29.98 for the Giza Dream Sheets. That's the high thread count. Just beautiful sheets. Super deep pockets. Again, just amazing sheets. Great color patterns. $29.98 is the best price you're going to see. Literally, folks, they'll ship you a mattress and a bed. I think they got the bed, the box spring and stuff. So, like if you've got a spare room and or you've got an old mattress, check with the trash people. They'll do big pickups if you got an old nasty mattress. I'm just saying, I would check it out. But as low as $649.99 for an actual mattress that they mail to you for free. Free shipping to your door. A mattress. Just saying. And the best towels ever. You are going to love these towels and the slippers too. $29.98 for the slippers. I would be thinking ahead for Christmas if I were you. Maybe you got to hide them. Maybe you don't. Maybe you give them to them and just say, hey, this is a Christmas gift or it's a birthday gift that's coming up in 2 months. Whatever. Sometimes taking advantage of the deal is the way to go. And of course, the best towels ever. You guys check them out. The 6-piece towel sets. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. And seriously, you're going to get the best night of sleep you have ever had in your life. Yeah, they got blankets, socks. Finally, it's loading up all the other stuff. Whole bunch of good stuff going on there. You guys got to check it out. mypillow.com/OTF. Thank you. Thank you, Mike Lindell. Fauci's lawyers are trying to get a legal fund going for him because this dude's going to be spending a lot of time in courtroom, or at least his lawyers are going to. So, yeah, they've launched a legal defense fund for the douche. Taiwan tech insiders are warning Beijing that their germanium squeeze is hitting production. This is, I believe, a German company. Oh, Taiwan, sorry. That this germanium kickback or this germanium pullback is actually starting to hurt production or going to make it much more expensive. We'll see how this all plays out. This is one of those things where we are at war with China right now. And, they're all smiles on camera, and Xi's coming out, Xi's coming out next month. But they are at war. Unquestionably. And again, it's not China, and I think Trump talks to him more to find out, are you actually getting the deep state out? They've got to be having some of those conversations behind closed doors, but we'll see. Just one thing to keep in mind, when people say this type of story, and then you buy an iPhone and you wonder, wow, they're so expensive. Here's why. Apple paid $17 billion in taxes to Ireland last year. That's 40% of their worldwide total money. It came from just Apple's taxes. That's just wow. Science by a press release, Moderna cashes in on the mRNA cancer vaccine without publishing the results. They didn't actually publish the results. They just came out and did a press conference about how it's so awesome. And this is what they're trying to do to get around some of the stuff. Now, I don't know if the FDA is going to approve it. But they are definitely, they saw a 4% increase in share price just because of this story they posted. Trying to get everybody excited about doing this. A lot of people are going to do it, by the way. A lot of people are going to do it. Alfalfa sprouts are now linked to bacterial infections in 15 U.S. states. Again, they're It was jalapenos. We got alfalfa sprouts. We've got lettuce. Okay. They're going to get us with sickies. First off, clean it best you can. That's not necessarily E. coli. Cooking's the only way to get E. coli. So you might have to blanch them or something. Or just not eat them. It's unfortunate, too. You can grow your own sprouts. That might be something to consider. Because they grow fast, to my understanding. U.S. Navy did a weird live fire drone testing. They got these weird sail drones. These drones just sail around the world or pay attention to winds. Or I don't even know what the hell they do, but they apparently do it on their own. And they managed to put a weapon on one of these. They were able to fire it successfully and aim it at something target something. Anywho, yeah, so they've proven that they can put these things on just these sail drones, which I'm guessing we've got a lot of. I don't know. They made it sound like there's quite a few of these things floating around. I don't know if I don't know what they're part of. Our weather, our monitoring of seas, tidal waves. Who friggin' knows? I thought it was interesting. First time I ever heard of those things. Turkey and Israel maybe on the brink of some sort of hating each other kind of thing. Well, they've always maybe disliked each other, but they do seem to be closer and closer to fighting. There seems to be a push for that to happen. Netanyahu, I don't necessarily trust. Erdogan, I do a lot more, frankly. So I don't know what's up. If this is part of the Save Israel for Last, and if Turkey's going to be the one that pokes the stick at the growling animal, we'll see. They've issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu. Turkey has. That's obviously going to be met with smiles and happy thoughts. Iran is losing their grip on Hormuz, period. End of story. And so what Trump is doing right now is absolutely brilliant. They're still pushing ships through. They're just going dark, and we're escorting many of them through. They say 1,000 plus ships that we've gotten through. Everyone's freaking out about diesel. I'm sure those types of ships are making their way through. But we control the strait, not Iran. So Iran's not making money. They're not shipping any product. They can't do anything. They are literally just dying in their own poo. Oil industry analysis on Friday noted sharp decline in Iran's offers of crude oil to Chinese buyers after the U.S. blockade. They're not getting anything out. China's not getting anything. This is hurting China, too, by the way. It's a big part of shutting down that deep state network, that CCP network. We're shutting that all down. We took Venezuela from them already. Cuba's coming, but they don't have oil, but they're sort of the little intelligence post. Their version of CIA maybe over here. Iran's top civilian leaders push for cutting a deal with Trump to end the war. They said they will not endure, and they're right. They're getting rocked. So where they get how this, because IRGC is always going to say, no, that's not true, because they're the deep state. But all the other people that are like legitimately caring about the citizens of Iran, they're like, we got to stop this war. We're getting smoked. Azerbaijan sued CNN over a story on cooperation with Israel on the war with Iran. Literally, CNN made up story from alleged sources or something crazy like that. It was all wrong and false and actually almost got this country attacked by Iran. And it would have been CNN's fault. Or it might have gotten attacked anyways. But so CNN's in big trouble with this one and likely will be busted. That should be exciting. Iran, they apparently hacked and shut down a British power plant for days. There you go. Now they're blaming Iran, which is strange. Again, it's probably deep state, but I don't know what's going on in England where they're punishing somebody or trying to threaten them or show them what they can do. Because this is typically what this type of stuff really is oriented around, is garnering or forcing the people in power to do what they need to do, even though it's not popular right now and that the people are overwhelmingly starting to rebel, which is problematic. Majority of Londoners oppose a fourth term for this Shaka Khan guy. Sadiq Khan, Shaka Khan. Anyway, yeah, it's stupid. A bunch of people, fourth term. This guy's a pile of trash. We know he's evil. France, they're made a deal with England. England's giving them like 900 million pounds or whatever, or I don't know if it's euros, pounds, whatever. But they're giving that money to them to try to stop these migrants from coming across, and France is not doing that. In fact, France is happy to let them go. They're like, we don't want them in our country. So they're just sailing across and going to England. Destroying England. Fantastic. British public support, tough stance against France. They should go bomb them. Go bomb France. That's what you can do, England, even though you don't have a navy that works at all anymore. Really don't have much of anything anymore. But, hey, you've got a pint, mate. ADF warns the WNBA silencing Sophie Cunningham fans could bring a liability. Trying to tell people they can't say, like, the XXXY shirts and stuff like that. So there's a whole big thing going on with WNBA. All because of this young lady. Man, she's pretty sure she's a chick. Freakishly tall, but a chick nonetheless. All said, interesting things going on. We got a fun week coming up. We'll see what happens in the big picture, but I'm glad the Supreme Court did what they did. That was one of the things I was concerned about on Friday. You guys probably remember if you heard the show. All said, I love you guys. We're going to continue the fight. And music-wise, I'm not 100% sure where I'm going yet. I'm going to figure that out here in a little bit. But where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.